First and foremost, Casey, Guillermo, James, AMEA, thank you very much for the invitation, organizing the event. We're very grateful to be part of this conversation. I'll present to you with my colleague Arnaud, who I'll introduce shortly, and we'll spend a few minutes walking through conceptually what Viridian works on and how we hope to support. Where we hope to end up is in the thick of a conversation that allows us to answer some of your burning questions and start to put us in a position to provide the technical resources and support from the work that we've been doing internationally that we'd like to bring as we expand into Africa. So I'll start there. Our focus is largely around regenerating land, livelihoods, and legacy. And so with our expansion to Africa and our partnership with Nuru and now AMEA, we hope to catalyze this work to learn from you as much as we are providing information on work towards building the capacity for natural capital solutions, otherwise known as nature-based solutions. Our background is very much forestry, agroforestry, or tree specialists when you look at the broader landscape and our influence on the landscape. So things that we're known for include leading the development of one of the largest vertically integrated reforestation efforts and companies in the US. We basically consolidated all the abilities to grow trees and provide services around reforestation to the Western United States, where wildfires are a very present force on our landscape and degrading our ecosystem. So having a consolidated supply chain allowed us to act in a concerted and focused manner at a very large scale. We also have developed a first of a kind natural capital project and financing model for dealing with these wildfire affected landscapes. And in sorting these solutions, we've created some innovations in how we work with local landowners, local stakeholders, and local supply chains, which is a critical element of this. We also shape policy discussion, most recently in North America, and integrated applied science with all of this work, because at the end of the day, if we can't get the policymakers and the scientists and the work aligned with that integrity and quality pieces, it's what becomes the question, which is what will ultimately lose trust in these new markets that we're trying to participate in. Beyond that, our team is fairly diverse. You'll meet some of them today. I'll introduce them here shortly. But we have experience in finance, operations, complex logistics, mergers and acquisition, and then of course, working with small shareholders, mom and pop companies and service providers and experts, all the way down to local and indigenous groups that are providing knowledge so that we can repackage that and apply that in a concerted, syndicated way to maximize impact on the land. Most of us are in North America. I'm calling in from a place called Bend, Oregon today, in the Western United States, but we've lived and worked across the world, and we're spread out all over North America as well. I'm going to briefly introduce my team just so you have some faces. With me is Arnaud de Villegas. You'll hear from him shortly, but we have John, Joe, Solomon, and Chris. These are all experts that cover finance, capital markets, science and ecosystems, and of course, impact. And with this team, we've got a collective experience that'll allow us hopefully to be the advisory that helps with some of these grassroots initiatives that we're hoping to bring to the world stage. And of course, with us on the call, we have a native son of Ghana, Dr. AMEA, an agroforestry specialist. He's a professor in the US, but he's also a principal with Viridian, just getting off of the airplane from Ghana, actually. So a lot of this imagery from our local project is his own. And then we have a variety of experts and project managers that support this work as well. And Elma, I believe, is on the call as well. So if you're asking questions in the chat, we're happy to approach them from all the different angles. With that, I'd love to pass to Arnaud so you can hear his voice as well.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning for me. I'm also on the West Coast of the United States in California today, but otherwise on the road. They were in a plane. We're fortunate to have been asked by our partners at Nuru International to develop blended finance models to support the development of this work. Their experience is unparalleled, and track record to date across the African continent is truly remarkable. We feel fortunate to have partnered with them in order to make real impact on the ground. Our collaborations focused on creating blended finance models that link agroforestry and natural capital, as Matthew mentioned, be leveraging a diverse array of capital partners ranging from catalytic philanthropists and family offices to institutional asset managers and multilateral financial institutions in order to design and develop in-country projects that generate positive impact on the ground, but also generate a compelling return for a set of investors that require that in order to deploy that capital. On the next slide, Matthew called out our recent work in Ghana with Dr. AMEA there on the right is seen as a prime example of our mission in action. He's seen here at a project site with local stakeholders in a village that we're hoping to develop a project on. So we're very excited. Lots of learnings from his recent trip last month. Our mission is to catalyze restoration land-based finance. So we design and fund and manage projects that deliver landscape ecological impact alongside robust financial returns, as I mentioned. And we do this by valuing nature with financial systems and creating durable, sustainable practices for integrating trees into landscapes. To understand the importance of this work, it's crucial to us to look at the African context on a global scale. So land degradation affects 2.6 billion people globally, and it's a severe threat to food security, of course, and rural incomes for over 2 billion people in drylands. And while Africa holds a fifth of the world's forest land, so it's experiencing one of the fastest rates of deforestation on the planet. So it creates a global imperative to us to restore these vital landscapes. One key solution we believe, and it's powerful, is agroforestry. The approach intentionally combines multiple income streams and offer a multitude of benefits, from climate mitigation and adaptation through to enhancing soil health and biodiversity. And to us, we're market-driven, really be able to create a multitude of income streams for the benefit of rural communities, often in the form of through co-ops. Matthew, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Arnaud. My clicker is moving faster than I am. So you'll find that we're very big picture thinkers, and we like to start at that place and zoom all the way into the fundamental work. So literally all the way down to the individual tree, if not the individual seed. So we hope to unpack that today, but I thought I'd start with a big picture perspective on the impact we could potentially have with agroforestry, because there's been a great deal of science and analysis around what that impact could be. So to Arnaud's point, agroforestry provides an incredible opportunity because of the agricultural baseline that we have around the world sustaining our civilization. So when we look at the petagrams of carbon, or the amount of carbon that we can pull back out of the atmosphere while creating a cascading effect of secondary resources, water systems health, soil improvement, community resources, and potentially revenue streams along the way, as well as commodities, we see that there is a major impact that could potentially be brought from this solution. But one way to relativize these numbers, that global potential 0.31 petagrams, it doesn't mean anything to many people. That is roughly the equivalent of all of Japan's emissions, or twice Germany's emissions for an entire year. So industrialized economies are putting out tons of CO2. So if we were able to mitigate this by spreading out the solution over a number of ecosystems around the planet, I think we could procure great benefit. In Africa, we have this great potential because we have commodities that are being grown in small shareholder lots. I think you all know this. This is what brings this interest here. So there's opportunity to create a catalytic effect by introducing these systems in a way that becomes many hands and light work. What's missing fundamentally is this middle part of the solution, because we're in this nascent or early development phase. So we hope to further refine our opportunities to develop blended finance models that combine that catalytic capital, that reduce risk, to unlock private investment for these agri-SMEs that we want to work with. And this is because at this early stage, some of them are more mature or outside of the realm of microfinancing and aren't quite within the risk profile or risk tolerance profile for larger banks. So we want to create models that effectively can demonstrate that when a dollar goes in and a few dollars come out, we put ourselves in a position to mature the system and create a pathway for more interest from regional or potentially global interests. Carbon markets, another term for nature-based solutions, and we'll use these interchangeably. We're happy to refine it. are an opportunity for us to go to market in this current economy and offer revenue streams that are novel and accretive to the existing systems that are already working on the landscape. So if we already have agricultural systems, cooperatives, and economies, we can introduce the opportunity, as James described, through some of the programming to basically participate in markets that look at a much longer timeline and horizon and perspective for bringing capital in. There are some pitfalls and challenges with that. I hope we unpack in conversation, but effectively, it's moving the horizon to the lifespan and timing of tree planting and the commodities that they generate and the secondary benefits, which in many cases is decadal as opposed to seasonal. And the way that we hope to make this impact is often more complex than I will provide here, but here are the common pillars. First and foremost, technical assistance. We want to make sure that capacity and common parlance are the first barriers that we overcome. So we're all speaking about the same thing, have a common understanding of what the market potential is, what local potential is. And then we want to provide resources for understanding supply chains, de-risking them, and then everything to do with financing in order to take a otherwise complex agricultural supply chain, forestry supply chain, and simplify it so that it can be showcased as part of a nature-based solution to an investor. We want to make sure there's community-led ownership. So our first and foremost goal is to work with the local stewards, because that's what durability means to Viridian. The people who will be tending to the landscape directly are the people who should be enabled to basically do this work. So the closer proximity to the site, the more likely we'll have success, quality, and integrity as global standards call for. And of course, there's this looming perspective of how technology impacts everything. And while we are very much technologists and pro-technology in the face of efficiency, our concern is that without the human element, we won't actually have something that's durable, malleable, and customized for these local needs. So we, in particular, are very much proponents of the human element in all use of technology, whether it's satellite, AI, or any other individual product or service. And finally, we try not to operate in a vacuum ever. So our partnership with Nuru and leveraging their history and track record of success, their local experts, is how we're going to enter and support. It's really leveraging experience, knowledge, and not reinventing the wheel when we don't have to, and only plugging in support where asked and where accretive to existing functional models that support those local stakeholders. So with that, I think I'll wrap and just share that we're committed to scaling regenerative agriculture and nature-based solutions. And we're going to learn hopefully a lot from you as we come into this process. And we'll try to answer any questions we can as dynamically as we can. But if we can't, we're going to be a resource for you and just an email away. So with that, Casey, back to you.